Hello and welcome to another Forza Motorsport 7 video. Now when it comes to South Korean cars, they have a reputation for not being the most exciting of machines. However, they have now built a front-engine rear-wheel drive sports car, so I went to go and have a look at it. This is it. It's called the Kia Stinger and has a 3.3 litre twin-turbo V6, and that generates 365 brake horsepower. And in the car's test, it did over 10,000 kilometres at the Nürburgring, so you can tell this is a pretty serious sports car. However, South Korea have also made another type of sports car. It's called the Hyundai Veloster N. It is front-engined, front-wheel drive and has 270 brake horsepower. However, don't think for a second that either of these cars are dull. One thing that impressed me about the Kia Stinger is the handling reminded me of the simply sublime BMW M2. Just the way you can get the back to move around in the Kia Stinger is amazing. It grips when you want it to, and if you want to be a bit of a hooligan, well, you can do that as well. And as for the Hyundai, it has 270 brake horsepower all going through the front wheels, so you'd expect miles and miles of understeer. However, that just isn't the case. It sticks to the road once again when you want it to, and when you want to be a hooligan, just rip the handbrake and full lock, full power. So yeah, both very fun and very good cars to drive. However, what would happen when we put both cars up against their rivals? Now, first of all, we put the Kia Stinger up against a Jaguar XES, and they both weigh practically the same. I mean, well, the Jaguar weighs about 40 pounds more than the Kia Stinger. The Kia Stinger has 25 extra horsepower, so that should make for a pretty interesting battle. Now, as you can see, we came to Watkins Glen. We felt that was a pretty good track for these cars. Now it's very close heading up to the back straight, and the extra 25 horsepower in the Kia can open up the gap between the Jaguar and the Kia, opening up first place a little bit more for the Kia, as it can just dive in between in the chicane. As I said, the handling in the Kia is simply sublime. It's just when you want it to go sideways and stuff, then you can. As you can see, it gets a little bit tail end happy through there, but most of the time it grips incredibly well. As you can see, I'm driving the Kia. Gaming Doctor is driving the Jaguar. Big thanks to him for helping with this video. But the Kia goes a little bit wide on the second to last corner. I give the Jaguar space to dive up the inside, and it is now just a drag race heading up to the first corner on the start-finish straight, and the Kia's lighter body and the 25 extra horsepower helps it regain first place coming up to the first corner. However, I go wide again and the Jaguar can sneak up the inside. It's incredibly fun driving both these cars. I asked Gaming Doctor, what he thought of the Jaguar, and he said it understeers a little bit, but it was pretty good. So both of these cars we liked, and I drove the Jaguar a little bit afterwards, and yeah, it's a really good car to drive. So once again, we're at the back straight, and as you can see, the Kia is just creeping ahead of the Jaguar. It's got the inside line into this chicane. I'm a bit braver on the brakes. I brake a little bit later than the Jaguar, so that means I can get first place back from the Jaguar into the chicane. So yeah, it was a really interesting battle, especially as, I mean, obviously Kia haven't really made this type of car at all. I go a little bit wider in that fairly long corner. The Jaguar can sneak up the inside once again. So yeah, it was really interesting to see how how the Stinger compared to the Jaguar. Now, heading up a little bit later on in the final lap, sorry. I believe this is the final lap, I can't really remember. Sorry for my such professionalism. Yeah, this is the second lap. Coming into so this is sort of the final section. You can see the gap is fairly sizable. It's not the biggest gap in the world, not the smallest gap in the world. However, coming into this final section here, this is where I liked my Kia the most on this track. It was amazing through this section here. You can see already just from that one corner the gap I closed. Either I'm just braver on this track or the Kia is just way better through these corners. As you can see, I've closed the gap right in, and it's the same situation as the last lap. The Kia is drag racing the Jaguar down to the first corner to try and regain first position, and it does. Really rather impressive from the Kia. The amount of speed it can take into corners is rather impressive, as we go a bit wide into the first corner, but no harm done. But yeah, the speed it can take into corners is impressive, really, really impressive, especially coming from a car company that's really never made a proper front-wheel drive, front-engine rear-wheel drive sports car before. So yeah, I found that really, really impressive. Now, coming on to this is the final section of the final lap. I swear my car was getting sideways through that corner every single lap. However, it was fun, so I didn't really let it bother me. Going a little bit wide through that corner. However, it's just a one more corner and then a run to the finish line for the final lap. And as you can see, I've got a fairly sizable gap to the Jaguar, and the Kia takes first place against the Jaguar. So it was then time for the Hyundai to go up against probably its biggest rival, the Volkswagen Golf. Now, we don't actually have the newest Golf GTI, which would probably be its main rival. I believe the new GTI is like front-wheel drive, 250 horsepower. So we got the closest thing to it, and that was the newest Golf in the game, the 2014 Golf R. And already you can see I've stumped my way up the inside. I think on the replay, I did give the Golf a fair amount of space on the outside of that corner. Sure, it wasn't a lot of space. I did take the corner at quite a wide line, but clearly the Volkswagen didn't think he had enough space and just went off onto the grass. Now, obviously the Volkswagen Golf R is all-wheel drive and has 30 more horsepower than my Veloster that I'm driving at the moment. Game Doctor was driving the Golf. And the Golf isn't even that much heavier than the Veloster. I checked afterwards to see how much heavier it was, and it's only 100 pounds heavier. Sure, that sounds like quite a bit, but in car terms that really isn't. And as you can see, I am actually pulling in the Veloster in the straight. I think I was slipstreaming a bit, and you can see I have a look up the inside in the Veloster, but I don't make a dive. The Golf just parks on the inside and I can't get past. But the corner speed the Hyundai could take was insane. It's just, for a front-wheel drive car, it's like no other front-wheel drive car I've driven. It's amazing the amount of speed it can take. Like you can see here, it's gaining on the Golf through that corner. The Golf wasn't having issues or anything. It's just the way it drives. But you can see how close up behind I am to the Golf. The Golf gets a little bit wide. That means I can catch up even more. And as you can see, I'm looking to go up the inside of this next corner. I get side by side, and I can take more corner speed. As that's just proved there, I sneak up the inside in my Veloster. Yeah, it's just an absolutely incredible car. I absolutely love it, and it is one of my favourite hot hatchbacks. I mean, my favourite hot hatchback before was probably the Honda Civic Type R, the new one. It's really good to drive, and I've actually never made a video on it. I was going to, but I didn't. But yeah, this probably tops it out. It's just so good. Same with the Stinger. The Stinger can take a lot of corner speed, but this is even better. It's so good through the corners. So yeah, the Hyundai came first to the Golf in that race. So as it turns out, both the Hyundai and the Kia managed to beat their rivals with ease. However, what would happen when we put them both around a circuit against each other? Now obviously the Hyundai has 95 less horsepower than the Kia. Kia has 365, Hyundai has 270, and the Hyundai is front wheel drive. But as I mentioned, as I mentioned in the previous race, the Hyundai, honestly, I reckon it has better handling, if not about the same handling as the Kia. As you can see around this really tight and technical roundabout section at Long Beach, the Hyundai is gaining on the Kia. As you can see here, it's pretty close. But the Kia does have the edge on the straight line parts, obviously. As you can see here, the Kia is pulling away, and that's the problem the Hyundai had, is it didn't have much straight line speed. And if you look in the little handling stat thing, the Kia was 4.6 on handling, the Hyundai was 4.9. So that just proves that the Hyundai does, according to Forza anyway, have better handling. And as you can see, we got to another straight bit here. I'd pulled in the Veloster, I'd pulled a fairly, or I'd closed the gap anyway, to the Kia fairly sizably, but then the straight just came and the Kia just walked away. So yeah, I reckon if it was a little bit more of a handling circuit, like, I don't know, Lime Rock like we've just been to, or I don't know, a different layout of Virginia, or I don't know, another place. As you can see, coming around this hairpin section, I'm fairly close to it. But yeah, if it was a more handling based circuit, I reckon I would have been pretty close to the Kia and the Veloster. But it's just, it has too many straights this track, and as you can see, the Kia is just walking away from the Hyundai. But yeah, the Hyundai can take incredible corner speed, more than the Stinger. Now this is a lap on. The second lap didn't really have too much things happening. As you can see, the Hyundai just stayed behind the Kia. Now the Kia, not to say the Kia isn't good around the corners, it's amazing around the corners. It does weigh obviously quite a lot. I think it weighs about 600 pounds more than the Hyundai. That might be why it's slightly worse handling. But yeah, not to say it's bad around the corners, it's really good around the corners. As I said, it grips really, really well for what it is. Really wasn't expecting that. When I first drove this car, when the DLC first came out, I was amazed how good this thing was around the corners. But yeah, at Long Beach, the Stinger is quicker than the Hyundai. Now obviously I wanted to take these amazing cars around my test track, so I did, and here's a little side-by-side or top and bottom comparison to the times. Now for the Veloster to get the fastest front-wheel drive car, all it would need to do is beat the Abarth 65 Apostle, which is one of the 5 cars that I took around, just so the leaderboard wouldn't be empty in the first video, and that got 1 minute 28 point something, I can't really remember. So yeah, it's not a particularly quick time at this track. However, the Stinger doesn't really have many rivals. I've not really taken in fact, I don't think I've even taken any C-Class cars apart from these two around the track. So what I am going to do is take the Jaguar and the Golf around the track, just to give a bit more competition to both these cars. Now, as you can see coming around here, the Kia gets a little bit of oversteer, but the Hyundai, not a hint of understeer whatsoever. Coming through the second 90 degree right, the Kia keeps it nice and composed, so does the Hyundai. Once again, just no understeer whatsoever, just all grip and no drama. Kia going around there very nicely, Hyundai in a similar fashion. And it's been fairly close so far. The Hyundai catches up through the twistier section, but it's now the big long straight to the finish line, and obviously the Kia can pull away as it does cross the line first, and then the Hyundai comes across second. So when we look at the leaderboard, we can see that the Kia Stinger hasn't only gone faster than the Golf R, the Veloster N and the Jaguar XES, but it's gone quicker than the BMW M2, which I seriously wasn't expecting. The M2 has the exact amount of horsepower as the Stinger, and because the Stinger is heavier, once again I wasn't expecting that, and that is very, very impressive. The Veloster is 3/10 quicker than the Golf, which doesn't sound like much, but it is very, very impressive still. VW have been making the Golf for I don't know how long, and the Veloster, or Hyundai, just comes in with the Veloster and just absolutely dominates it. So yeah, the Kia and the Hyundai are both very, very impressive cars. So there you go, if you want a front-engine rear-wheel drive sports car, then the Kia Stinger is a genuinely good option. I mean, we saw it's quicker than the M2 and it handles just like it as well, pretty much like it, if not better. And if you're looking for a really good hot hatchback, then the Veloster N is incredibly good as well, as we can see it bet at golf. And yeah, both are incredibly good cars. However, if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you are new to my channel. And until the next video, goodbye.